Hey guys, Todd here. Today I'm actually pretty excited to get to tell you guys about the lift kit that I'm going with on my Ford Maverick. And I'm going to tell you why I'm getting that one. Now, I've had a couple of people, asking me about what lift kit I'm going with, and to be quite honest, I wasn't allowed to say anything because it was still in development, and I had to kind of stay quiet about it. But now it's been released, and so I can talk about it. But before I do that, let me first talk about why I'm doing a lift kit on the Maverick. See, I really enjoy going off-road, and the Maverick, they've done a lot of things that's good for maintaining traction and all that with their with the all-wheel drive, with the different drive functions, with the FX4 package. You got the mud and ruts, you got the sand mode. But something else that I wanted to focus on is different things that are on the Maverick that make it a little less off-road capable that a lift kit can really help to solve. Number one is your brake or your approach angle. So that's the angle from kind of the bottom of the tire up to your bumper in the front. And that has to do with the size of the obstacles or bumps in the road or bumps on the trail that you can go over without rubbing. Then we have the breakover angle, which is kind of from the bottom of the front tire up to the, I'm trying to show you guys, up to the center of the truck and then down to the bottom of the rear tire. That angle right there where you kind of call it breakover angle is like if you're breaking over a hump or a hill, what that angle is. And then also the departure angle at the back, from the back of the front tire to the back of the bumper. And that's all about, coming off of an obstacle, if you're gonna catch that bumper or not. Because the Maverick sits kind of low, it doesn't have a very good approach angle, breakover angle, or departure angle. So when you raise the vehicle, that increases all of those angles, and it therefore makes it a little more capable off-road. Another thing is it increases your ground clearance. So this is the FX4, comes from the factory. They say it's 8.6 inches. I did stick a tape measure right there. It's right around 8.5, so I'm going with it. 8.6 inches of ground clearance. So if you're too low, that's something else where you can run into an issue where you can bottom out and then get stuck. So extra ground clearance, even a little bit of extra ground clearance goes a long way. Then we talk about, I'm also going to get some new tires too. So when it's all said and done, I'll have 2.5 inches of lift kit, plus another extra inch, just over an extra inch of height because of my tires. That's going to give me right at around 12 inches of ground clearance, which is actually pretty good. The Achilles heel for the Maverick is articulation. So that's tires going up and down, how much travel you have. And it doesn't have a whole lot of travel, so that's kind of where the Maverick falls short. But what I'm gonna do is make it better than factory for off-road purpose. Now, let me go ahead and talk about the lift kit and why I chose the Superlift. Let me flip this around. Okay, now we've got this set up because we're actually about to shoot a video on this. So here is what we've got. First, we've got our spacers that go on top of our struts. Now, these spacers are going to provide a little bit of lift, but more important than that, we've got our preload spacers that go inside the strut. So what you do there is you take the top hat off of the strut, you put the preload spacer in, and you put the top hat back on, tighten it back up. What that does is it gives you lift from inside the strut rather than just on top of the strut. That is really important because if you don't have that preload spacer and you want to go much more than about an inch over, for clearance, you run into some bind issues with your axles, with your sway bar travel, and also with your ball joints. And you want the factory components to last as long as they're designed to last. And so if you have too much bind, or if everything's a little bit too tight, something's designed to last 150,000 miles, like your factory axles, your factory ball joints and all that, might only last about 50,000. And so I can't say enough, go with something that's got preload spacers if you go much more than about an inch in height. Otherwise, stuff doesn't last as long. Another thing we've got some replacement sway bar links and sway bar link brackets. Now, if you left the factory sway bar link in there, everything would still work. But what you would end up with is, because of the arc of travel with that sway bar, the sway bar ends up rubbing on your ABS lines, and obviously that is not good. So putting a bracket with a sway bar link in there corrects that arc of travel, and it keeps those ABS lines off of your bracket. Now, the brackets that we're using, these brackets here, these are kind of way over engineered. This is made out of 1/4 inch thick steel, so it is way more than it needs to be. However, that's good because this has been the component to fail on some other kits that are out there. So it's better just to go ahead and over engineer it so we don't have to worry about anything than have something that fractures when you're off-road and then your sway bar isn't working anymore and things are grinding and all that kind of stuff. So as far as the rear of the vehicle, here's these are spacers. This is going to be for the rear trailing arm drop. So it's going to drop down your rear trailing arm a little bit and keep the angles correct. And these are some spring spacers. So what you're going to do is, when you have everything pulled apart, there's a kind of a thicker spacer in the back and a thinner spacer. This goes to the bottom of the coil spring. This goes to the top of the coil spring, and then you put everything back together. But that's basically the whole kit, and that gives you 2.5 inches for the front and a little more, around 1.5 inches for the back. And what that does is gives you a level stance, which is a stance that I really love. And I can't wait to get this stuff on there, get the new wheels and tires, and take it off-road and see how she does. But anyway, hey guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to hit me up, and we'll see you on the flip side.